All right, I wanted to jump on the podcast. Welcome everyone to the Trent Knox show to talk a little bit about the process that I'm going through as far as content creation, the podcast, releasing the blogs, and everything that goes into what I am doing as a content creator. And so last week I started a blog series that's intended to kind of differentiate the three different categories within the creator economy. And so those categories are one being the content creator, and then two being a content producer, and then three being a content publisher. And these terminologies can mean a lot of different things, and we are going to kind of think through the process of what their meaning is in my world, as well as maybe that will benefit your world. And so basically this idea kind of spawned out of the idea that in the traditional marketing and advertising world, there's they kind of label their words differently. So like a content creator is the term content creator is being kind of newly adopted, whereas in like web 1, web 2 time frame, and we're not really even in web 3 really. Like the wide adoption of web 3 hasn't happened. But web 1, web 2 were people who would get their own website, they would brand everything, and then they would publish. So they call those people publishers. And with the advent of social media and web 2, the term content creator is fairly new. The term creator economy is fairly new. If you look at like Google Trends, it had been mentioned before, but it didn't start to like really take off until the late 2017, 2018 timeframe. And so like now it's on a meteoric rise as a way to define the way that money flows in the industry of content creation. So like creator economy, I was talking to Knives Monroe about this. It's like the term means the business of content creation. And then the economy component of it is like the flow of money within the business of content creation. So yeah, the purpose of the blog is to kind of differentiate with this newfound language, or the new way of labeling things, and sort of being on the same page language wise across the board in the creator economy. That being content creators, people who exclusively publish to sites like YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Instagram, TikTok, just they exclusively publish to those. They might have a link tree or snipe feed or a beacons or something like a smart landing page, which kind of shows all the places that they publish content. And I would even include like Patreon and OnlyFans and Subscribestar. All of those are included into the ecosystem of a content creator. That's not necessarily someone who's gone to the next level, which is like being your own publisher, like operator of all the costs associated with and taking 100% of the pie as it comes to the monetization flow, as far as the money that flows through in your economy. So your fans pay you directly. You might pay fees to like Stripe or PayPal or something like that. That's an integration, right? You have to integrate that yourself with your developers in your as a publisher. And then there's like the middle ground there, which is if you're not able to develop your own website, you're not able to create your own content, you're not able to do these things, you have the middleman, which is like the content producer. That's your photographer, your videographer, your gig economy worker that's kind of bridging, coming in from a different angle, while you have access and you have ownership over the attention economy because you're the prize, you're the one who creates the content, and you're the one that everybody wants to monetize. It's not entirely your whole pie, because now you have to take money that you would be earning from your content creation on platforms like YouTube or Spotify or whatever your modality is, whether it be fashion, art, business, whatever it is, and then taking a fraction of that and paying other people to help you bridge off of the walled gardens that are social platforms, which don't want you to take content off their platform. And in fact, they would rather develop the systems, but they would rather you publish your content and restrict it on their platform rather than you go out and building your own platform, because you become a competitor at that point to what they have as far as a distribution model, a broadcast model. You could potentially, if you garnered enough attention, be a competitor to them. If you had the mindset of an entrepreneur or a founder, or if you had some technical prowess and leadership skills, you could eventually become a competitor, because you would be eventually adopting the same feature sets that those platforms had, like video distribution, like audio distribution, like user profile accounts, these sort of things. And then you start to negotiate with other content creators, and you end up becoming what is a whole nother thing, which is a creator network. And as a creator network, you have much more you come to the bargaining table with more value than if you were just a content creator publishing to social media willy-nilly. Like if you were creating content for fun. And in that case, like as a content creator that's growing, and I'm only talking about this from my small experience of getting offered affiliate deals, getting offered sponsorships, getting offered to partner with different brands, and then kind of surmising that into maybe putting the cart before a horse a little bit without having like the full amount of capital that you need to invest to become a publisher, but along the ways trying different things, buying different domain names, trying to use different software applications to facilitate or kind of fake it till you make it in building your own, publishing platform. And for me, my publishing platform is Cyber City Media. And I've operated that Cyber City Media brand like it was a network or a publisher, a content network or a content publisher. Because I've worked with individuals as a content producer to produce their audiobooks, their Amazon web series, their YouTube videos, I really didn't dabble into like the Instagram shorts or like that world, the video. Like the video that I created is generally like website video. Obviously, like not obviously, but for those of you who know, my expertise or my like passion and my skill set developed in live streaming. So I learned OBS. I learned multi cameras. I learned videography, and I have to give that up to a lot of different people through the process. I've failed more than I've succeeded in a lot of ways, but fortunately or unfortunately enough, that's put me in a lot of interesting opportunities. And so it it's a learning process to start off as a content creator like myself. As a content creator, what I would do is publish stories, like in the traditional sense, about life on like Ustream or YouTube or whatever in like 2012 time frame. And I remember publishing on Twitter and getting like having like my grandfather reach out to me and say, you know, this is going to last forever. You know, you better watch what you say. And then watching so many people who said things that they shouldn't say become popular and famous and wealthy and then kind of like feeling like, why was what was it about me that let that, you know, forefather restriction limit my ability to access success? The fear of like the negativity, like that fear held me back in a lot of ways, because it wasn't, you know, as far as my story goes, from 2012 to 2015, 2016, I didn't even publish anything. I didn't make any content. I went and I learned about what independent video production, film production looked like by going to the University of Hawaii and watching a lot of different movies and films, but and playing video games as well, and animating and different things. But I missed the opportunity. I missed the opportunity from 2012 to 2016 to understand where social media was going, as far as like making money online, making money from independent media production that was outside of this Hollywood model of making a movie, going to a film festival, taking your shopping the film around and in the LA film market, or being picked up by a distributor or something like that, or without a box, or you know, some of the old school stuff that used to exist that's kind of gone a different way, or like trying to get on Netflix or something like that. Like that aspiration, those dreams, the thoughts, the things, wanting to accomplish that, I think is becoming even more, even less valuable now, because everyone's on their phone. Everybody wants a 30-second clip. They want you to condense all the information into a short form format. They don't, you know, they very few people will take the time a day, outside of like hearing something in the background, like a movie or something like that, or a television show. They don't actually take the time a day to sit down and listen to like a deep, long format conversation. Those who listen to like Joe Rogan or interview podcasts, that are similar to that, like even Colin and Samir, when you're talking about more deep, you know, more niche specific, as being content creators, inside baseball kind of podcast, the long format stuff isn't as consumed as the short format stuff. And maybe people will take it to the next level and they'll like watch a YouTube video that's similar, you know, similar to like a Mr. Beast video, where it's consumer, it's entertainment focused. It's not like, it's not the same as like, as a movie. Like it's a movie is entertainment. It is consumer focused, but there's some sort of warm feeling that you get that's different than watching a game show. Like a game show, you want to root for a contestant or something like that. And that's not necessarily how I think most people consume movies. Like they have their favorite characters, of course, but it's just a different empathy. It's a different way of resonating with the information that you're getting. And so like, yeah, Harry Potter, you resonate with Harry, but you might resonate with Hermione, you might resonate with Ron, you might resonate with those characters, or if even in the Avengers, Captain America, the Hulk, Iron Man, you resonate with a particular character, but the overall consensus is that you're like out of this world. You're not confined within the reality that you're in on an everyday basis. And so like the salaciousness of like a Mr. Beast or whatnot is like, that's why a lot of negative press is coming out about Mr. Beast, because it's sort of the peak of degenerate humanity, of like this grasping for straws to sustain yourself financially or even like socially by participating in these life or death kind of game show type things. And not, obviously the Netflix dramatization of Squid Games is a dramatization, but there is a component to like what Elon Musk was saying on the latest Joe Rogan interview, Elon Musk number 3 on JRE, is there are people who are in authority authority positions that are uninterested in the general population of people around the world. And there's ideologies that are that are in direct competition with pro-human ideologies. And so like people might say that he's melodramatic in thinking that, the what's going on in San Francisco and Seattle and Detroit and Chicago are examples of the end of American civilization, and then what's going on overseas in Ukraine and in the Middle East. But there is some merit, there is some truth to all that. And so as content creators, we have to, in a lot of ways, our goal is, if we're in the entertainment space, is to pacify people so that they're not overwhelmed by these issues that are facing their neighbors, their family, their loved ones, right? And so there's a coping mechanism to it all, and you have to get your inhaler of copium and suck it on in to get through the day. And whether that be you're pacifying yourself with the TikTok feed, or you're pacifying yourself with a YouTube video, or whatever you can do to just kind of get your mind off of the negativity that is overwhelmingly present in society and what's going on in civilization. So, this is, and obviously you want to be prepared for when the shit hits the fan and you have to navigate alone, because the people around you are not preparing. They're not, their minds are pacified as well. So they can also become a liability more than they are an asset. So you have to think about these things as it pertains to business, and then try and translate them into dynamics within your operation. And so I put out a TikTok covering that I have been finishing up my last semester, or not my last semester. I'm finishing up my semester, the last course in my semester for my first semester of my MBA program at WGU. And I mentioned that I'm covering four different forms of communication. indirect, direct, social media, and email communication. And so in your business, the delegation of your content production, whether it be pre-production, production, or post-production, that delegation is sort of an indirect communication with your audience, because you're going to take your content that you're creating and you're going to hand that off to somebody who's going to be your editor, somebody who's going to be your video producer, your marketer, your director, your distributor, your whatever that is. And sometimes that handoff is in the form of your audience. Sometimes it's also the platform. Sometimes the producer could be AI's implementation into the conversation for the first time as well. So you have the individual content creator, who can depend on no one other than themselves, producing content, making decisions that will result in a producer producing your content. You can facilitate both, but you then are in the triangle of hierarchies, pulling away from you can only satisfy two. In a series of three, you can only satisfy two. So you become more of a content creator, more of a content producer, and less of a content publisher, right? So the balance here is, how much do you want to pull in each direction? And I've pulled in multiple directions with Cyber City Media, but ultimately your big goal is to find yourself somewhere in the center between being a content producer, between being a content creator, a content producer, and a content publisher. And as you progress through this trade or this trade-off, you might find that you're being drawn more toward content creator, drawn more towards content producer, drawn more towards content publisher. I personally have yet to be pulled more to the content publisher side. As a content producer, I've worked with brands, and I won't name them, that are more content publisher related, and I've seen them fail because they don't have the correct mindset as it relates to sponsorships, advertisers, monetization, and as a whole of the content creators that they sign to their networks. And so I bring these things up, and hopefully you're learning from the lessons that I learned along the way, and you can implement something something of this resonates with your creative business model, that you're able to implement it into your workflow, your system, whatever that may be. And I want to utilize this blog format as a way of monetization in the future. I'll give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain right now, is that I'm publishing the blog to blogger.com, which is a Google product. I have Google Workspace as an email provider and a domain name provider. But if you know anything about the domain name services business, Google domains sold out to Squarespace. And so there's some sort of massive disruption coming in that space. Positive, negative, I don't know. But I just know that they sold off that asset to Squarespace. And the last time they made a change like this, especially when they made the change like from G Suite to Google Workspace, it was a complete disaster. And they restricted the amount of cloud storage that you had. So when a G Suite became Google Workspace, each individual account, if you had like a business or an enterprise account, went from unlimited to 5 terabytes per user. That's terrible. Like, especially if you're in a video production business, you're shooting terabytes of data when you're shooting 4K or you're editing and you're trying to ship 4K files. It's not good for an independent indie video production company like Cyber City Media. So we really took a big hit with that one. It was really chaotic, and I still have not recovered from that change. And I know a lot of people use Dropbox and a lot of other different softwares, but the cost to benefit ratio when it was G Suite was insurmountable. The ability to store that footage, hold it, let the client see it unlimited times, and then additionally be able to workflow through Google Drive and all of that. Like it was a big change, and it really impacted my business in a negative way. But that being said, still with Google Workspace, because they still offered the most robust amount of tools as far as email, Drive, Docs, everything. But I see a lot of universities and companies moving away from Google software to Microsoft because for whatever reason people are moving to Microsoft, and I don't know necessarily why, but universities are doing that. So I'm publishing to Blogger, and it's a Google product, like I said, and I run into an issue where Google AdSense will not monetize my blog yet because it's not getting enough traffic. And so I have aspirations to monetize on all of the content that I create, but I haven't yet reached the traffic needed to. I'm not popular enough. I don't have enough attention yet to do so. And so as a content creator, I am failing. I'm failing in the form of being successful in the attention economy. I don't have the attention. And that's a big, 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 big problem. If you cannot get the attention, you cannot monetize your content. Whether that be on Facebook, meta services in general, TikTok, YouTube, whatever platform, you cannot monetize. There are some platforms out there that you can monetize from day one, but they continue to fall. They continue to disappear. Twitch is not an example of this, but Twitch, you can go on the platform, you can use third-party tools and applications to monetize your content, whereas you can't do that in the same way on YouTube or other platforms. So yeah, I'm having this issue. I can't monetize the blog. When it comes to the next step, which is podcasting, I have monetized the podcast. And the reason why I've been able to monetize the podcast is because I adopted publishing to Anchor.fm, which is now Spotify, or podcasts, Spotify for podcasters now. And they still have monetization in the form of contributions, subscribers, paid subscribers, paid episodes, and also promoting different things or advertising different things on your podcast. And so with that, I've gotten an ability to do affiliate marketing, a little sponsorship, a little advertising on the podcast. So you get that audio component. You hear me read some ad reads during this podcast or any podcast really, depending on if I implement the monetization component on the podcast. So the blog, the written word, I have affiliate deals and things like that I can include into the blog, but it's difficult. It's challenging to do that. And also, implementing AI to rewrite and make it more SEO friendly and all those different things, like that's challenging in and of itself. And also figuring out ideas. And this blog series that I'm doing is an idea, and I like it, the direction that it's going in as far as kind of working on the language or, kind of commentating on creator economy as a whole. Podcasting similarly, but it's easy enough for me because I just jump on and I start talking about what's going on and talking about content and the creator economy. So I know I have an expertise in it, and I am a bit of an authority in the space because I've been working in it on being an authority by publishing and being, working. I have a book, and that book is an example of my authorship, and I publish it on Amazon.com. So if you ever want to read it, you can buy it or whatever. So the audio is there, and then in the graphic sense of, and I don't want to even, I am going to skip doing graphic design. That's not something that I'm interested in doing. I don't want to do photography. I don't want to do image generation. That's not something I'm interested in doing. I do it as I do it reluctantly for other reasons, but like that's not something I'm intentionally monetizing in a broadcast sense, in a sense that it's published out to a larger audience, like on Instagram or something like that. I'm going to skip that, and I'm going to go directly into short form video. So short form video, I'm starting to create these bite-sized pieces of content. Instead of just doing podcasting like this, I'm intentionally recording 15 to 30 second videos now of a quick take. Here's a quick take, essentially. And I think I'm going to do it that way, actually. Here's a quick take real quick. Let me explain this topic to you and then finish with, this is what you should do about it. That's sort of the direction that I will be going in eventually. Right now, I'm still trying to work it out, polishing it up, getting the rough edges off. So short form video, publishing it to all the platforms. And then the next thing off of that, like the podcast or the audio is this, but recording the video as well, and then publishing that as a longer form piece of content. Now I would like to do a vlog as well, something vlog based, but I don't necessarily know what that looks like, a 10 to 15 minute vlog based thing. I see a lot of people doing travel videos that I really like. I like panels, which aren't necessarily podcasts. I like real estate videos, house tours, and things like that. I'm not yet. I don't think of myself as like someone who teaches gameplay. Like playing a video game and then like talking through like the gameplay of it all, and this is how you do this, or this is how you do that. But like that, and then just some form of long format video. Then the next step is live streaming. And so in the past week or so, 2 weeks, I've gone live on Kick once or twice, just to kind of like dabble a little bit and I probably should have went live and done this live, but I was like, I'm just gonna record a podcast because I put I think I'm gonna make an exerted effort to do the podcast and release it on Thursdays. I'll record a podcast on Thursdays, release it on Thursdays, and then release the blog on Fridays. And then people will have the weekend and week to read the blog and listen to the podcast. And I think that through the process I'll eventually grow. Because like I said this on X to my longtime friend Javier, also Live Retardation on X, is that we only grow by continuing to publish, right? We if we're not publishing, we don't exist. So that's about that. That's pretty much it. I feel like I'm gonna kind of wrap it up here. I think I kind of put it all out there. So much as to like kind of get it all off my chest about the content and creator economy and what I see and what I think matters. So if you got any value out of this, please either send me a direct message on LinkedIn if there's any way that I can help you with your content creation, or email me directly at trentknox.com. Go to trentknox.com for all of my links and profiles and everything like that. And until the next one, y'all have a great day.